Now you see, we paid the $10 to come in here. I just did it because I got the kid. I would have no interest in doing something like this if I don't have the kid. She's on my shoulders right now, as evidenced by the boot, and that's nice. Okay, you know, at least it's not like Yosemite where you're walking up a flight of steps looking at someone's ass for an hour and a half. This is a lot nicer, but I'm more amazed at this incredible buckwheat. Look at it, this Eriogonum species right here, with those leaves, pubescent leaves, covered in a fuzz, wonderful texture to them, undulating margin, and unfortunately it's not in flower right now. It's not blooming, but we do have this lovely divaricating branching structure, reminiscent of some of the divaricating shrubs one might encounter in New Zealand. It's a whole phenomenon over there. It's going in my photo book. But we got Ephedra, got these weathered, I believe these are either Paleocene or late Cretaceous sands. But this is a really nice setup. I mean, a Horseshoe Bend thing is not, I've seen enough photos of it in hotels to know, you know, the kid would like to see it. So that's what we're going to go do. Now, you can obviously tell that water issues are a problem in the Southwest. You know, you got too many golf courses. Those should all be vandalized immediately. You know, tract housing, lawns. If you see a lawn anywhere in Arizona, it should definitely be vandalized on the spot. Okay, let's just put an open call out for that. I don't know if that breaks YouTube community guidelines. I'm joking, by the way. I'm being completely facetious. Who's down there? But you could see all the low water levels and a magnificent algae bloom, probably due to you know, cow feces in the water. You know, not the best time to be here. It's probably a lot more beautiful 200 or 300 years ago. That's absolutely gorgeous, though. It is. It still is gorgeous, despite the algal bloom and the low water levels. Okay, the kid's off my shoulders. You know, no child should be held accountable for her father's dumbass actions. Again, look at this Eriogonum. Such a diverse genus in Western North America, over 300 species. And the Eriogonum Society gatherings are certainly a ball. Lots of arrests, lots of public intoxication. Okay, I've been sober 9 years, so I'm the designated driver. But there's people puking, people fighting. You know, it's a ball, right? Firearms. There are big firearms enthusiasts among the buckwheat fanatics, the people that study Eriogonum. I'll tell you what. You know, you want to talk guns, you hang out with some of those people. They're a dish. And then stepping away from the throngs of tourists, we got this clumping, clone-forming, likely centuries-old colony of scrub oaks, reminiscent of Quercus havardii in Texas. You can see it's got a much different texture to it, though, and pubescence on the leaves. Chalky green leaves. Goes good with the red sands. We're at an elevation of 4,000 feet here. So we're high up, but, you know, not as high as I'd like to be. It's still going to get really hot today. But the dry air contrasts with the humidity where I live. So since the air is dry, it cools down a lot more at night. Where I live, it doesn't get below 80 at night. See, they start out small. These buckwheats, there's quite a few taxa of Eriogonum, quite a few species with those divaricating branching structures, those zigzag branches. But this is a young one of that shrub we've been seeing. It gets upwards of 3 feet tall, like a 4 foot wide spread. I love the buckwheats. If you have been introduced to the glory of the buckwheats, you really gotta look into them, man. You live in Western North America, you gotta learn about Eriogonum. Oh, that Ephedra creating some really lovely lizard habitat. I just seen some Scaloporus, the fence lizard genus, running around. Big fat honkers too. It's a nice place to hide, though, you know, from hawks. Anyway, the uplift is the reason for all the cool geologic structures here, which have definitely influenced the plant life. Most of the Colorado plateaus at 4,000 feet or higher. It would be much hotter were it not this high. And so the Colorado Plateau region, because everything's been lifted up, there's been a lot of weathering and erosion, which is why you get so many cool canyons and arches. And, you know, this thing right in front of us, you've probably seen a couple hotel photos with this. We stayed in a real dive last night, and that's why, you know, you get some kayakers down there. You know, there's a lot of people in boats down here. That's right, I got the kid with me. So we stayed in the real divey hotel last night. They did have a waffle machine, though, so I was comforted by that. But, you know, even on a wall at that hotel, they had a photo of this. The kid said she wanted to see it. I said, okay, let's go do it. I would never do it in real life. You got to pay 10 bucks to get in here. But it is cool. It's cool to see, and there's cool plants, so I can tell you, God, that water is so low. Holy hell. What's all that algal bloom from? I think that's from the cow poop. Anyway, we're going to check out some of the botany here, and then we're going to get back on the road, look for some rare plants, and take a little tour of the Four Corners region, as well as other areas in Utah and Arizona on this Colorado plateau. So let's go check it out. See, look at it. These oaks can get a little bit of height to them. That's impressive. You know, they could be colony forming or small trees. What if we got acorns on there? Yeah, we got developing acorns. Look at that. That's nice. God, I love that color. It's another reason to love desert plants. Ephedra torreyana is cool because I don't think this is a bird dispersed fruit in there. I think it's just wind. That's the female cone. Remember, this is a gymnosperm. And the little bracts blow away, and then you're left with the seed right there. There's 2 seeds, actually, per cone. 2 naked seeds. See, more divarication on those branches. This is an annual Eriogonum, different species. It's dead. They just grow, produce a ton of seed, then die. Oh, look at that. Tiny cacti everywhere. There's another. Look at that little guy. It's like a little golf ball. Bunch of radial spines. Is there even any central spines? I don't see any. These nice. Look at this nice pebble substrate. Oh, look at that rain. We got rain coming, I hope. Look, he's hiding there, just hiding amongst the Bouteloua. Little Spiralcia coming up next to him. God, they're everywhere. Little golf balls. They really like this. These little pebble hills. Oh, this is nice. Look at it. Cylindropuntia whipplei. Those yellow flowers. Looks like it'd be fun to put on your tushy. Not the flowers, the whole plant. Majority of this plant's population is in northern Arizona, goes into southwestern Colorado, got New Mexico, Utah, a little bit of Nevada. Nice cholla. Nice. I love these high desert chollas. We got a living crust. You could see the black. It's all alive. Oh, there's our little friend again. Some interesting lichens over there, too. Oh, it's nice. Yeah, I really love it when they do that. You know, when like 60 to 70% of the plant is submerged in pebbles or soil, etc. Oh, that sun is coming out. I wish it would go away, please. Nice little cirsium right next to it. Nice little thistle. Now we're up at, we're above 7,000 feet out of the desert. We're on the Kaibab Plateau, site of a famous ecological experiment, or more like a misstep, in the 1930s, where the deer population blew up because they knocked out all the predators, and so then the deer ate themselves into oblivion and ended up all dying of starvation and famine. Oh, this is a cool one. Goldenrod relative. Looks like a goldenrod. It's in the Solidagene tribe. Petradoria pumila. You can see it's just a little shrub growing on this cliff right here, forming a nice little colony up there. Look at the dead leaflets making a little broom-like skirt. Then up there we got Pseudotsuga menzicii, also known as Doug Fir. This is Pseudotsuga menzicii, subspecies glauca. Is it subspecies or right? I forget. Either way, it's common here. You can see we're at 7,000 feet. So you got Doug Fir growing in high elevation northern Arizona. Doing very well. Oh, look at that. We got a penstemon right there. We got an interesting Tetranurus here. Variations on a theme. Tetranurus scoposa. Common throughout Texas. Here's a different species. Similar habit though. Long linear leaves. It's right up there as well. And then we got Oribes right here. A gooseberry. Grossulariaceae. See, the flowers are withered on it. The berries are forming. Now you could see that all the ponderosa pines here at 7,400 foot elevation bear evidence of fire. Got a nice little pachyra back there with those little yellow flowers. You can see lots of burning though. I don't know what the fire frequency is here, but it's not surprising that they are naturally occurring. All these trees show evidence of fire on the bark, but most have recovered. Look, it's an acmispon. Used to be in the genus Lotus. Pea family Fabaceae, as you could probably tell from those flowers. Got a Mahonia here too, forming nice little clumps. And even though it's the first week of June, it's still spring. Well, late spring, I suppose. That's pretty nice too. You know, the Abies concolor white fir. Nice stuff over there. Look at the needles on that Abies, how they're erect. That's nice. Look at those papilionaceous flowers. It just means the Phoboides subfamily. You got thorns. Nice green speckling on the inside of that banner petal. Robinia neomexicana. That's pretty nice too. Look at that. Jesus. Up here at 8,100 feet. Abies concolor. The male cones, those little brown danglers, and then the female cones, the megastrobili, are those erect guys. See, the Abies always has erect cones. The genus Abies, all over the northern hemisphere. I don't think they get into the southern hemisphere at all, but... Oh, look, it's Petradoria rutaceae with those trifoliate leaves. Didn't expect to see this there. Here, of all places. 8,000 feet above the north rim of the Grand Canyon. That's a nice view. Oh, that's nice. Look at a Philadelphus microphyllus, hydrangeaceae. Where's the distinctive little fruits? I'll find a better one for you. Look at the Robinia with the pink flowers. They don't get too tall here. They sure got a nice backdrop though with the Abies. And it looks like Pinus edulis is about to start putting pollen out. They're not dehiscing yet though. If they were, you'd tap them and you'd see big yellow clouds. Yeah, Penstemon barbatus, not quite open yet. How do we know it's a Penstemon if the flowers aren't open? Glabrous, opposite leaves. Look at that undulate margin, too. Got a Castanea in there as well. Hoping to sneak in there. You know, maybe when a Hummer is hitting the Penstemon, it'll hit the Castanea as well. I wonder if it's, I suppose the Castanea is parasitizing the grass, not the Penstemon. And from the honeysuckle family, Symphoricarpos, with those little white fruits. When they look like little, what do they call them, snowberries? They look at those white yogurt covered raisins when they're mature. Very pleasant smelling flowers. And from Rosaceae to Rose family, we got Perseus stansberryana. Those flowers smell incredible. Apocarpus, you could see each one of those 5 carpels, 5 green carpels in the center of that flower. All the stamens pulled back. This is a post-mature flower. Here's one that's still going off. Oh yeah, there you go. That's nice. Look at that. That is nice. Dozens of stamens, dozens of anthers. 5 carpels in the center, and then that dissected foliage, those dissected leaves, ever so glandular with a little bit of pubescence on them as well. It looks like those trichomes, those hairs, have glands on them. Oh, and look at that white wax. Look at that white stomatal wax. Ooh, that's a beautiful plant right there. Holy hell. And then right here, growing out of a rock wall, we got a member of the sunflower family, Peridoli congesta. The rock daisies. Peridoli is the genus of rock daisies, or cliff daisies as they call them, because they're frequently growing out of rock. This is a cool one, growing out of a limestone rock wall, just like its friend Peridoli congesta. Phenlorella utahensis, 5 white petals. This is the genus of 4 species. Hydrangea family, Hydrangeaceae. I've seen Phenlera lasiopetala down there in the gypsum rock walls of Nuevo Leon at 6,000 feet. This is Phenlorella utahensis. Seen this once before. Almost forgot it exists. Those are Hydrangea family flowers. Look at this. Look, just coming right out the limestone rock wall, covered in lichen, right here on the north edge of the Grand Canyon. Jesus Christ, how old is this perennial, you think? Look, it's got a big woody caudex that it dies back to. We're at 8,000 feet, so winters here have to be pretty chilly. Look at that thing. How deep into the rock does that go? Got to be a couple decades old. Maybe 1 or 2 decades old? I don't know. I have no idea. We also got Holodiscus discolor. Ocean spray. One of the ocean sprays. Holodiscus. Family is Rosaceae. Flowers aren't open yet. Look, so fuzzy. Pubescent. Nice Eriogonum as well. The yellow ring in the center. That yellow little inflated donut in the center of those 5 fused white petals. And Boraginaceae, you get those stiff little hairs and everything just kind of draping out of this little crack in a limestone rock. And another one down here. The whole stem is fuzzy too. Look at that beautiful foliage, that graceful foliage on the abies, on the white fir. The California white firs don't do this. Only the Rocky Mountain population. You can see that where the new growth emerged. This year's growth out of those protective bracts, those buds. He's curious. He wants to know more. He's cautious, but he's also curious. He's interested. He's somewhat fascinated. What are you doing out here? I know they got a meth problem out here in Arizona, right? We don't get it so bad in Texas. Well, it depends on where you are, I guess. Midland, Odessa. What are you doing? What are you doing? You want to take a ride? You want to take a ride with me? Look at that. You could totally see the texture. Look, this was former. This could have been a shoreline, you know, or just off the shoreline, just off the coast. They're in the Permian, you know. Where was this when those Deccan traps were exploding all their basalt for millions of years? I wonder. Here we got a species of rus, but it doesn't look like any I've seen before. Is it just aromatica? Look how glabrous it is. Almost gooseberry-like leaves, but then we come over here and we see the typical rus. Let's see if these are still on there. The typical sumac berries, hairy, somewhat glandular. There's some over there too. Really curious. What the shit is this? You know, Trilobata aromatica, rus trilobata, rus aromatica. I always kind of, you know, you see them a lot. They're pretty widespread. And I kind of tune them out, but this is unique enough. It's also unique enough that it just has, it's you know, just single glabrous leaves, no hairs, red stems, and where it's growing. You know, in the high desert of Arizona, on sandstone. Now there's also evidence of degradation here as well, as evidenced by the cow shit and the fact that a bunch of stuff is kicked up. So I wonder how much that's impacted what I may or may not be looking for. I don't know. Yeah, the grazing's really bad here. This is interesting, though, this grass. There's a cactus species, I believe it's called pumila, that makes spines that are flattened and papery like so. And it's probably been selected to mimic this grass, which it grows with, or some grass species. I don't know if this is a bootaloo or what. Can't really tell. That aside, take a look at this. So this used to be in the genus Stephanomeria, which is a chicory. That is, it's in the chicory subfamily of the sunflower family, Asteraceae. Flowers kind of look like a chicory. It's only got 3 florets in there. You can see each one has a ligule on it. This is in the genus Pediocactus. Now, I think I got split probably a while ago, because it's a wood. It makes like these woody. It could turn into a shrub first off, but it makes these very dense spines, which Stephanomeria does not do. Okay, both have pink chicory-like flowers. Both are desert species. You find them in arid lands throughout the Southwest. But this, you can see it's doing the whole stem photosynthesis thing. Photosynthesizing through the stem. Very waxy blue, glaucous, beautiful flowers. Beautiful stem, etc. But it's mean as hell. Here's one that looks like it got chewed off by a cow. A little seedling comes up from a perennial root. You got leaves in there? Yeah, maybe at the base, yeah. But look at how spiny that thing is. And then it's got those gorgeous flowers. I would love to see this in cultivation more. Arizona native plant gardens, maybe. But it's a chicory. It's a spiny blue chicory. Goes very well with this beautiful hue of the Permian sandstone. And then down here, just growing right in the middle of the road, we got this interesting Asclepias. Opposite leaves, and it's bleeding latex, so the diagnostic factors for milkweed. I guess it looks just like a glaucous, a more glaucous and waxy latifolia. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard without flowers. It's hard to tell what it is. And, you know, not being familiar with the area, God, it's got to have a giant root down there, though. And there's more. But the leaves on this, holy hell. Massive. The same shape as latifolia, but they got a lot more. Almost wonder if it could be welshii, which grows far further north. Oh, there's the flowers on it, or the budding inflorescences. Welshii is a cool species that grows in the sandy areas, the coral pink sand dunes of southern Utah. I only see these few individuals. So welshii in June of 2020, I think. Was it 2020? Yeah. Oh yeah, look at the wool on it. Oh, this might be welshii. Holy hell. Could be. Look at how goddamn woolly that is. Holy Jesus. That might be a disjunct, huh? And then the habitat once again seems bare, but you get down, you look close, you could see our old friend Sclerocactus parviflorus right here with those long, somewhat bent spines. Almost looks like an echinocereus right there. Look at those areoles and those ridges, though. Look at it. Sclerocactus parviflorus once again, everybody. Oh, this is some good snake habitat. Plenty of places to hide out. You come here at dusk, I bet you could meet a whole bunch of cool species. Got Heterotheca everywhere, that little yellow comp. Don't know what species. It seems to be super abundant here. Lovely sandstone that when it weathers creates this red sandy soil that you see in front of you everywhere. And what do we have here but a massive shrub of a berberis species. Ooh, it's in flower. Berberidaceae. Which is common in South America, North America. The beetles are going for it. And Asia. Very spiny leaves. Obviously, we got Berberis trifoliolata in Texas. They call it agarita. Got berberin in the roots, which is medicinal. You can make a tea out of it when you're sick. Or if you're not sick and you just want to play alchemist, you could do that too. But you can see it's doing very well for itself here, despite no hairs. It's just going for the glaucous thing. Wax and spiny leaves, armed for defense so it doesn't get chewed on, since it's one of the only things on the menu out here in the high desert of northern Arizona. See, here's Rus trilobata. This is the Rus I know. Pubescent leaves, not waxy. Trifoliate or trifoliolate. Doesn't look like that Rus I saw back there. The hell's going on out here, huh? What's going on? Oh, this is so cool. You get these shrub buckwheats. We don't get any shrub buckwheats in Texas. Eriogonum, the genus, Polygonaceae, the buckwheat family, is so species rich out west. Look at that white indument. It's like a white wool, actually, on the undersides of these shrubs. The shrub looks like shit, but that's okay. Just having a rough time. Aren't we all, pal? You can see they're everywhere out there, though. Love to see it in flower. You know, I bet this spot, after some rain, is just fucking lit up. I bet it just looks incredible. Oh, there's so much good stuff here. Yeah, man, the destruction by cattle is evident. Just stuff kicked up, shit everywhere. It just, you know, grazing cattle in a desert would be on my list of, you know, some of the most idiotic things to do. Some of the dumbest shit to do, but people do it. Because that land is just a waste otherwise, right? There's nothing there. Might as well graze it. Fucking moronic. Oh, it's a Tracheus species. A stinging member of Euphorbiaceae. Right there. And over there, we have a wood rat nest. Rife with hantavirus and shit. And encrusted, you know, urine encrusted artifacts that they bring back. It's so cute when they do that. They bring back all this little stuff and they piss on it and cement it into the wall. Somebody put rocks in his pothole, Probably because they already ate shit. You could really fuck yourself up. Or maybe they were just being cautious. Who knows? But I'm inclined to think it's happened before. Came out here to look at this milkweed, but you can see how that water has just bulldozed, just shoveled all that, just like a snowplow, all that debris up to the side of this wash. So this thing must rage during a good storm. We'd be underwater right now. Yeah, man, I think this is just welshii. I think this is just Asclepias welshii. That is way too woolly for latifolia. They're just about to flower. You got a bunch in here. Oh, that's cool. That's nice. You know, we aren't too far from the type locality, the coral pink sand dunes. But they're just about to flower. They're not going at it yet. Look at that. What a cool milkweed. This is one of the cooler milkweeds that exists. And the inflorescences are just these globe-like, they look like these globe-like clusters of teeth. Woo! Yeah, this must get going, man. I'd be waist high in water right now. Oh, maybe it's not welshii. It just looks like it's latifolia. Got a few early flowers on it. It's latifolia. Far different from the latifolia I know in Texas. Much more woolly, much more glaucous, aka blue. But those are definitely not welshii flowers. All right. Well, we have our answer. Still cool to come out here and see it. Look at a Berberis hematocarpa. It's the only shrub of any significant height that you're seeing on this landscape. The sandstone weathers and erodes in really peculiar fashions. Look at that. Why is it weather like that? There's that Eriogonum again. Looks healthier right there. Look into my opuntia. Look, that stigma hasn't even opened yet. See that? So it's closed up like a clam or a little fist. It's a dry year though, man. You know, not a lot of stuff is flowering. I guess these already did. Ooh. Oh, look at the glaucids. Ugh. 4,800 feet elevation. Much different substrate up here. It's limestone. And I found what I was looking for, but unfortunately it's dead. You can see it was noted with a little tag there in the number 27. Pediocactus peeblesianus. You just see those spines. Oh, that sucks. Deader and shit. And this species is on the decline already. So that's a drag. Evidently the population's not doing too good. It is very dry. I don't know what the seasonality is. I assume it's like much of Arizona, where it's summer monsoon. So this would be the dry season. But I mean, you could see how cryptic that would be already. Basically submerged. There you go. I uprooted it up. I'm going to put it back because I don't know if they're keeping track of this. You know, maybe they'll come back and they'll want to see that it's dead for themselves. But that's what it looks like. And that thing's deader than shit. You can see the fuzzy areoles. Oh, that's sad. Let me dig this out a little bit and put it back. Wonder how many are left. You can see how it just blends in with these little diminutive grasses, though, on this limestone substrate. Pediocactus peeblesianus. Who was Peebles? Well, Paul Peebles was the owner and proprietor of one of the first adult bookstores in Mohave County, Arizona. Okay, this was groundbreaking for his time. This is like 60s, 70s. Real filthy fuck. Good guy, but real filthy. Hilarious, though. Hilarious. Knew a lot of dirty jokes. And in this adult bookstore, you know, you go in the back, they got like a little warehouse set up in the back, and you get tied up. There's a living one. That's nice. You get tied up in the back. You know, they got a warehouse. There's like a, 4.5 foot tall dominatrixes. They get the short ones, just kicking up all these wealthy investors in the balls. The wealthy investors are tied up. They're paying for it. This is a service. It was a sadomasochism warehouse that he had in the back. And so this was, again, Mohave County, Arizona seems like a quiet county, kind of in the upper reaches of the state. Not a lot happens there. Boy, you couldn't be more wrong. So this cactus was named after him, and there it is. Pediocactus peeblesianus. Really shouldn't name plants after people, because then it enables, you know, sick fucks like me to go and mock them and make fun of the name, and it just, you come out with a really goofy sounding species epithet, and I can have fun with it. But thanks a lot for that. There's number 270, specimen 270. Great to see they are keeping track of this. Tragic, though, that it doesn't seem to be doing very well, and especially since many of those nerdy European collectors have trouble growing ones like this, species like this, some of these high desert species, because they're so prone to rot, and they just come from such a odd and specific kind of environment. You know, they're hard to cultivate. So the best thing to do is just preserve the habitat. It's nice to know the cows have thoroughly fucked up this habitat too. Look at that those big cattle prints. God, fucking moronic. Just absolutely moronic. Grazing cattle in a desert. List that as another threat to this species. Oh, it's depressing. Here's some tags, and there's no plants. So presumably they died. Unless I just can't, I mean, yeah, they... You never know. Some of these cacti are really good at hiding, but I don't see any there. What is that little bunch grass species, I wonder? Bummer. Lots of echinocereus here. Also kind of blending in with the grasses, I suppose. God, this has got to be such a hard plant species to monitor because they're so damn impossible to find. You basically have to come out here when they're flowering to ensure that you find all of them. They got transects set up here, you know, but good luck. You know, and there's not going to be funding for stuff like this anymore, being that science is getting taken apart in this country. Yeah, the United States doesn't want to fund science anymore, so good luck. Species like this are on their own. See, Escobaria is even going for a partial subterranean habit in this gravelly environment. God, I wonder how many of those Pediocactus are around me that I'm just missing. Probably tons. But then again, recruitment doesn't seem to be doing too well. Unlike Escobaria, I don't believe they produce fruits that contain a lot of seeds, so their chances are way lowered. Exponentially lowered in terms of recruitment, in terms of new seedlings. Yeah, like how old is something like this? That's got to be 20 or 30 years old. Ah, beautiful. Found another one. One more. Look at that. Yeah, look at those spines, man. Definitely shade cover. And right next to it, big-ass cattle footprints. Big-ass cow footprints. Just wrecking the habitat. Jesus Christ, really? Grazing cattle, again, grazing cattle in the desert. Some of the dumbest shit you could think of. So the fact that these aren't tagged gives me hope maybe they were missed in the original study. What a cryptic cactus, you know? But yeah, I mean, you know, as the U.S. gets dumber and the oligarchy, you know, convinces more of the working class to vote against their own interests, definitely species like this are going to be going to get knocked out, right? Because who cares about, what does this do? Who cares about a tiny little cryptic cactus? It doesn't serve any directly evident purpose to humanity. And it's an integral part of a living machine that evolved over millions of years. But that's not important, right? Unless we can, you know, monetize it somehow. It's only survival. That's wow. So you got that little guy right there, and then you got another little guy that I only just saw. Where the hell did it go? Right there. There you go. Look at that. Just ensconced in the soil. Only the top 10% of that stem, even though it's a little ball, it's still a stem. Only the top 10% of that stem is getting sunlight. The rest is just totally cryptic. Just in that, you'd never see it. Yeah, again, a nightmare to study, but a really cool habit. See, this one, that's going for ultimate crypsis. Look at those spines. Probably 1.5 inches long. Just almost completely subterranean. And how many more, how many more could there be hiding? Ooh, it's a little colony of Lycium. Looks like Lycium pallidum. Don't quote me on that though. I know the genus, but I don't know all the individual species in it. Kind of divaricating branching habits, spines, nightshade family, solanaceae, edible berries. It's a common name, wolfberry or something. I don't know what the hell that is. But it's a Lycium. And quite diverse. A lot of species, and they thrive in desert areas, especially areas of saline soil. They're very salt tolerant. Cool little pendant flowers. You know, there's that we didn't find that many, but that's not surprising because they're so damn well hidden. But they certainly seem to be doing better when there's a thicker layer of mulch of these little, you know, these little pebbles. I guess this is like a metamorphosed. It's hard to tell. It's limestone, but then there's little bits of chert, or perhaps even novaculite on top of them, and that acts as a mulch. Probably prevents the ground from getting too hot, and also provides a good spot for the seed to germinate. You get a thick layer of mulch on the ground, rock mulch, not a thick, but you know, a couple inches. The tiny seeds fall in there. It can get all the moisture without getting any of the, you know, sun, without too much sun. And when they get adequate size and they just poke above, they can finally poke above the layer of mulch and get enough sun. But either way, interesting species. Hopefully it's still around in 50 to 100 years, just like I say with everything I see. All these rare plants. It is the Anthropocene. The Anthropocene, a mass die-off, human-caused, by a species that takes all for itself and leaves nothing for the rest of the biosphere. But it's a choice. It's a choice, right? Like we don't have to do this, you know. Just bottom of the brainstem shit. This is monkey brain shit. Letting all this stuff go extinct while you use everything for yourself and don't realize the inherent importance of it. Anyway, that's all I got. I'll spare it a rant. You've heard it so many times before from me. Have a good rest of your night. Go fuck yourself. Bye. Gypsum's abundant in the border between southwest Utah and northern Arizona. And you could see plenty of gypsum right here. You get a lot of cool plants on gypsum, of course, like these buckwheats. You can see this Eriogonum species right here. We also have this member of the Eriogonum, nitrogen-fixing bacteria in the roots. This is the genus Shepherdea. Look at those silvery leaves. Haven't seen this species in 5 years, but I remember it fondly. Those leaves are so unique. Look at that, covered in these little scale-like trichomes, scale-like hairs. Nice woody shrub. Oh look, it's an Acordeus species with those lovely mutisioid flowers. Like little ribbons with those pink anther tubes. Forming a nice little colony. Got a Quercus species, Ephedra, some nice red sandstone, and a interesting pour-off. Still in Arizona, but close to the Utah border. Oh look, it's Monroa squarosa, the cobweb grass. Fucking weirdo. Beautiful weirdo. Fucking weirdo. Ooh, look at the ant mounds. This is where you get the good stones for the gourds. You know, to make the little rattlers. Cool grass though. God damn. Oh, nothing gets me off like beautiful waxy glaucous leaves of whatever this composite is. Is it some kind of senecio? I don't know. It's not flowering now. It still looks like it's a ways away from flowering. It's nice out here. What the age of that is, probably, I would assume, late Cretaceous, maybe early Tertiary. Makes for a lovely soil substrate though. I mean, it might be hard to grow in, I'm not sure, but probably very gypsiferous. Lots of gypsum in these soils. Look at it. I wipe it, my greasy hands, and you can see where the wax comes off. What the hell is this? This looks like a frickin' baptisia. There's not supposed to be baptisia out here. Some sort of leguminous bastard. Apparently it didn't come back, though. The root is still down there, but it didn't come back this year. Maybe it died. I don't know. Look at those wonderful chimneys and spires. Ah, it's an Echinocereus. Lone Wolf Echinocereus. Oh no, you know what? This has got recurved spine. This looks like Sclerocactus. But there's also Pediocactus simpsonii out here as well. Ooh yeah, look at those recurved spines. Definitely not an Echinocereus. Never mind that. I didn't look close enough. Ooh yeah. Look at that. It's a young Stanleya pinnata. You can just see the leaf dissection. So glabrous and rubbery. Brassicaceae, the mustard family. Somewhat sketchy goings-ons, but we'll be fine. You know, sometimes you're walking along the edge of a cliff and you do come to a precipitous spill-off, which we seem to have right here. So I'm gonna have to go, God damn, look at all those tumbleweeds blowing up into the crevasse. So we have to go back down to wash. Go around that way. Oh, that's not a baptisia. That's some damn giant astragalus. Wonder what the hell that is. There's those baptisia-like fruits, though. Very glabrous leaves. Man, this thing really stinks. It's got like that sulfuric smell that legumes sometimes get. There's the flowers, but they look like they're crispy. It is exceptionally dry. So we know it's white flowered, probably moth pollinated. These do look a little bit Sephora-like. Look at those long tubular flowers, almost white tubular. I wonder if they're moth pollinated. Very glabrous. Stinky plant. Oh, we found the Frasera. A tiny little Frasera. Gentian family. Look at the white margins on those leaves. Look at that. Oh, it's cool. Is it Alba marginata? There's another one over there. Such distinct leaves. That white margin on them. Oh, it's the invasive tamarisk. Tamarix ramosissima. You know, the flowers are pretty. You can see the betalain pigments in there. Caryophyllales, the cactus, spinach, and beets order. You know, it is pretty. It's too bad it's such a terrible invasive. Of course, the permaculture bros will deny it, but, you know, we've seen whole canyons and rivers and arroyos choked out with this stuff, where instead there would be a diversity of native species that many of the organisms here evolved with, and instead we've got a horticultural atrocity from the Home Depot garden section. Oh, Silostrophe! The foliage on this species smells incredible. We get a couple Silostrophe in Texas. That species that was just discovered in Big Bend is sister to this genus. Looks like Silostrophe. Look at those wide-ass rays. 3-lobed rays. Everything covered in pubescence. It smells incredible. Those leaves. Oh, I'm gonna collect an herbarium specimen of this just because it smells good. Beaver tail cactus too, Opuntia basilaris. You can see it just roots into the ground as it goes. Grows laterally. It's a creeper. It's a midnight creeper.